Hey, g'day. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal a simple and powerful system to generate consistent leads designed so that it can remove the constant worry of where am I going to get my next new client coming in. In fact, our members over the last 12 months have increased their revenue by over $800,000 by using this exact strategy. Now, it's not just about getting more leads, that's important. It's about creating a lead generation system that can truly power your business. Now imagine waking up and you've got 5, 10 or 15 new leads coming to your business. That is what I'm going to take you through. It's simple, it's easy. You don't need to be some techno genius, you don't need to have this massive ad spend. It's really about making sure that you've built a lead flow system that frees you up and allows you to focus on the parts of the business that you really want to. So champion, let's get in, let's get started. This is the lead flow effect, but what happens when you don't have consistent leads? Well, I want to give you an example of an amazing fellow by the name of John Hollenberg. He owns a company called 5x5 and they're a digital marketing company. Before he started working with us, he had a team of 3. He was in his early 30s and he just had an unpredictable lead flow. There was like sometimes a heap of leads and then there was nothing. It was really difficult to plan for the future. He was certainly well overworked, had no time for his family and was considering like, oh, maybe it's better if I just get back and get a job. What's the problem that happens? And what was happening for John and what we see happen with a lot of people is that they use their time to save money, but then what happens is they become a bottleneck within the business very quickly. And you become so busy that you start to kind of lose the confidence. You don't have the money coming in to, I don't even know if I can afford someone. If I bring someone in, how am I going to make sure that I've got the payroll to make sure that we're going to sustain them working with us, but also to make sure that we've got consistent leads coming in. The third thing is, if you don't have enough cash flow coming up, you end up just still doing everything on your own. You still end up being the bottleneck in the business. We call it the octopus syndrome. That is, there's one brain, there's lots of tentacles, and everything sucks. We don't want that for you. But what happens when you can generate consistent leads coming in? And let's use John as the example here. By the way, this is not using any fancy funnels or any tech stuff or even big ad spend. It's really simple. You can talk to someone, you can do this strategy. So what happened with John when he put this into place? He scaled his team from 3 to just over 30 people. Most importantly, he built a structured lead flow machine. It takes over 6 weeks of leave a year. He's only in the office 3 days a week and has a pretty good lifestyle. In fact, he just got back from 6 weeks in Japan skiing. But the real thing is, what's the bottom line? You say it. Well, what was the bottom line? The bottom line is, over the period of the last 5 years, he's increased his EBITDA or net profit by 1,350%. Take that on board. So if he's making 100 grand, multiply that by 13.5, and that's the increase in the profit that he did. How did he do it? What was the principles? Well, I'll take you through this. First bit, it was just really the shift of psychology. And the first one was moving from being the bottleneck and being like, I better save money, so I'll just put in my energy, is with the consistent cash, he was able to buy back his time. Then he was able to bring more amazing people into the company, the team, so he was no longer the bottleneck for the growth of the business. And most importantly, what ended up happening is, with the consistent leads and with him not being the bottleneck, the confidence that you get around your business is impeccable. Not only that, that confidence just breeds and it gets bigger and bigger. It's like a snowball that builds momentum. The big mo is one of the key things that helps businesses. So let's go through. How did he do it? What were the principles? We're going to do this, and you're going to do this. If you look at the workbook, you don't need a workbook. You can just use what I'm using on the screen here. But my suggestion, if you use your own workbook, and make sure when you do this, use your numbers. Like, make this real. We've been doing this for well over a decade. Work with thousands of businesses. I've got some good numbers I'm going to work off, but make sure you do yours. So let's just do this. Let's go through and have this principle. What's this skill? What's this part that you want to add into your business? We call it the power of partnerships, and most people overlook it. It's sitting right on the back doorstep. The other diamonds in the backyard. So we're going to take you through this. Now, my question I have for you is this, and make sure you're using the workbook. Where did, in the last 12 months, the bulk of your new business come from? Where did the bulk of your new business come from? What are the top 2 ways? Let's put it that way. Here's what we know. In the last 12 months, 93% of all marketing is a form of word of mouth marketing. Word of mouth also being digital word of mouth and referring people. And yet most people overlook it. They're going for all the big fancy latest marketing messages a month. And what we want for you is to have a consistent lead flow machine that does not require a huge technical brain to be able to run this thing, or massive large ad spends that you're at the whim of whatever the platform is deciding that's the flavor that they want to be doing for that month. So let's get in, let's do your numbers, let's do the tracking for this. So what I want you to do is to think about in the next part of this exercise here is these questions, and we're going to go through these. What's the annual value of a client to you, or a customer, a member, whatever the right term is for you? So how do you think about that? Well, it could be that they buy from you once in a year. And let's say I've done this, and this, by the way, works with if you've got an e-com business, whether you're retail, whether you're a service business, whether you're a manufacturing business, whether you're an engineering business, any of those genres we've worked with, every single industry pretty much under the planet. And I can tell you this is the bedrock of all their lead generation strategies. So if you look at the annual value of a client, work out that number for you. Now, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to take this as $10,000. Yeah, and just keep in mind when you think about that, if someone buys from you, let's say they buy from you 4 times a year and they spend $2,500 each time. Let's say you're an e-com business and people buy that, 4 times $2,500, $10,000. Let's say you're a service business and someone purchases 10 months of working with you and as a consultancy of some sort, and they pay $1,000 a month, that would be $10,000. So that's how you work that number out. What is your number? Write that number down so that you're really clear. That's the number you're working off. Now, the next question is, how many referrals, how many leads would you expect to get from a referral partner? Now, when I've done this many times before, people say anything from 10 to 40 leads, depending on what the nature of the business actually is. Here's what we know. With a proper script, with a step-by-step system put into place, which is really quite simple and easy, what we say is the baseline. The baseline, as far as number of leads per customer or per client, is very, very simple, and that is, we say 8, just 8. Just imagine there's only 8 that you need to get from your best referral partners. Most, if you look at your top 1 or 2, probably doing well more than that even now. But it's been, for most people, we know it's not structured, it's not fully planned, and therefore it doesn't happen consistently. The next question is, how many partners do you want to work with? Well, that's the next part of the question that we want to go through. Now, how do you work out how many you want to work with? Now, we have a system, we call it the partnership wagon wheel. So the partnership wagon wheel, on your notes, you can go through and have a look at this here. I'm going to write this out, and I'll just, for the purpose of this example, I'll assume our business is a business to business, a B2B business, and we work with small to medium-sized businesses all across the globe. So I'm going to use that as an example, but you use yours. So this is the question, who is your ideal client? Who's the person that you want to serve, that you want to be the hero to? For us, it's small to medium-sized businesses. So now the next question you want to ask yourself is, who else has that person on their database? What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at, let's say, a small to medium-sized business, you go, well, if I was to read the profit and loss of another business and read all their expenses, that's where they're spending their money. All those people are amazing people that you could work with if it's a B2B. You can still do the same thing for B2C or any of those versions, but for the purpose of this example, I'll do B2B. So who else do business owners are on, their other people's databases? Who are they? What are some examples? Well, let me just take you through a few. You got the really obvious ones. Well, almost every business has an accountant. They have bookkeepers. Love bookkeepers. Who else does? Who else works with small to medium-sized businesses? Well, outside that, you think about other professional services. There might be lawyers that could be in that category, and there are usually specific lawyers that might be in that category. Then you might look at, in this space in here, let's go to other little genres. Let's say you've got insurance companies. They're usually great. IT companies, love IT companies. Let's put on that same category, software companies. Now, using IT and software as an example, they're usually really good because they're usually very technical, but they may not have some of the robustness around the customer care, and that could be a great place that you can add value to their customers as well as to yours. So look at software companies. Who else have we got in that category? Well, look at the people side of the business. We've got HR as a part of that there. You've also got recruiting, could be in that genre. Then think of what are some other industries. Well, you've got in there, let's say the lead generations phase, you've got people who work in PR. You've got SEO. You've got marketing agencies. Let's put marketing agencies as another example in there that you could be someone that you could be working with in that category. So you look at here, and there's a stacks of categories. In fact, I'll show you a few in a moment. But you look at these here, and then you go, well, who do I know that's an accountant? Well, I know Bob, and I know Mary, who's a bookkeeper. You know, I know Sam, and I know Eve. Okay, so you start, and what you do is you're building out your wagon wheel. And from here, what we've been able to do using a systemized approach is we start with a whole heap of people to begin with, and then what we found is you whittle that down. You whittle it down to just 10. You can do more if you want. Out of that 10, there'll be somewhere between 2 and 4 that are just rock stars, and the others will be good. They'll just come in and may not be as consistent. But when you put all of them together, you end up having at least 10. And 10 amazing partners to work with is all you'll ever need to be able to have a rock star business, to have consistent leads coming in. I want to show you the example here. If your average value of a client is $10,000 and you've got 8 partners they send you 8 leads over the course of a whole year, so you think about that, it's not a huge amount, and you've got 10 of them, what does that equal? That is $800,000. What I'd love you to do is to do your numbers. What are your numbers in this one here? What do you think your average dollar client over a year's worth? And then also look at the number of partners. You may want to go, oh, I want to do more. And I'm going to go, great. What we know is this is a very conservative number, and it's one of our main strategies that help people to really rock star in their business and to have these consistent leads flow and building a structured machine around it. So that's what we did with John, and we used this specific tool. This here is the partnership tracker. And what we do, and this is just an example here, this is more of B2B, but you can see there's all these different categories on the side over here, then you can put the names, and what we do is we've got trainings on this specific part of it, shows you how to do, we have a different way we approach this. There's a 2-step approach. Then when you get that up and running, then you can have it consistent from there. So this is an amazing tool that we use. It's very simple and easy to use. And when you put this out there, it can give you, can you build it for you, but then what you can do is it's very easy for you to then delegate that to someone in your team. It's a really cool strategy to get you up and running. So if this resonates with you and you want to put this strategy into your place, then what we'll do is we're going to offer a one-on-one free consultation where we're going to help you to implement it. We've got a saying here, and that is, when the tide comes in, all boats rise. And what we'll do in that consultation, it's called a growth driver call, is we're going to do 3 things. Number 1, get really clear on what your goals are, where you're going, what's your vision for the business. Second thing is looking at what are your bottlenecks, what are the things that we need to overcome. And the third thing is, what are the very specific next 3 action items that you need to put into place in your business right now. You're going to get huge value out of that. Not only that, but you might kind of go, hey, this is really great. I'd love to continue the conversation, and that's fantastic if you do. You're going to either win in this call, or if you want to work with us beyond that, we can talk about that after that call, but you can win even faster. It's just one simple step, and that is to click on the link and book your call now. Here's what we're going to do at our end. We're going to make sure we're well prepared. We're going to do our homework. We're going to do our research before we speak with you so that we can hit the ground running, because our job is to make sure that this year is the best year that you ever had. Can't wait to speak to you soon. Bye for now.